I went and sang a song in Portuguese, and I made everybody sing this like bridge part that had like this choir with parts that I taught while I was singing, and everybody kind of like tagged along, and it was this moment. Hello.
Hi, how are you?
Hi, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you as well. Thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. My name is Adam, and this is a podcast about you and your journey in music. And we'll talk about the record album you have coming out on Friday, I believe, or in just a few days from now.
Yeah, on Friday. Soon.
Yes, awesome. So, first off, I always ask, where were you born and raised?
Born in Lisbon, Portugal.
Okay.
And lived there up till my 20s. So yeah, very, very Portuguese.
Okay, very cool. What was it like growing up there?
Amazing, honestly. It's very, family oriented, and I did a bunch of sports and studied, we call it science and technology. So because I was going to biology or veterinary, or I didn't even know. And then also was at the conservatory to study classical piano. Mm-hmm. It was nice. It's nice.
You originally thought you were going to be a vet? Is that what you said?
Yeah. Or something, something related to animals, but maybe more like biology and less castrating dogs.
Sure. I want to talk to you about your music, but I'm fascinated. How long were you interested in that? Because from what I read, you went to Berklee, right?
Yes. So
okay.
I wanted to go into the animal world till I was 19, and it was at 19 that I actually had that click of what am I doing? I should actually be doing music, because I've always studied, but I never really liked studying anything. Not that I didn't like music, because I actually loved music and I loved playing, but I just didn't want to study like I think a lot of kids.
Sure,
I wanted to play sports and
yeah, do what they want to do.
Exactly. It's like way too hyperactive to be sitting at a piano. And then at 19, I actually had that kind of realization, like, actually music is the one thing that makes me not even be able to sleep when I'm excited about it. So there was that kind of like, just realization.
There. Yeah, realization.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah. We'll get to that point. So mom's a piano teacher, is that what I saw?
Mom is like a ear training. It's a lot of things, like a music pedagogy. I don't even know how to say it in English, but like basically she teaches people that want to be also like music teachers for it's a lot of different things, but also ear training. And so but on the more of like classical world
side. Okay, so you were born right into music.
Yeah, because she basically not forced us, but kind of had this rule at the house that my siblings and I had to do the 9th grade in music too, and we didn't need to do anything with it. We just had to kind of study it because it's good for your mind. And like,
sure, up to 9th grade. Or at 9th grade, like, so from whenever, what was it, 4 or something
grade, yeah.
Okay, so from 4 to 15 or 14, you had to do it.
4 to 14, exactly. It's like 10 years
so
of you, because you get a diploma, and she also had this thing where like it's not only good for you, but if for some reason everything doesn't work out in your life, like anything works out in your life, then you can at least you have a diploma and you can teach music if for some reason things didn't work out.
Okay. So do you still have the diploma?
Yeah, because then I reached 9th grade, and then I was kind of like, well, I did 10 years and there's 3 left, so I kind of just kept on going, even though I really didn't want to study. But I'm kind of that person that if I start something, I just want to finish it anyways. And then I did it till 12th grade. College. So I did 3 more years.
Okay. But I mean, like, the physical diploma, do you have it? Like, I completed these years of piano.
Yes, it's somewhere stored in a folder
Oh, it's not
somewhere at
like
the house.
framed in the house at all?
No, I think we were too mad to, we were like, wait, I don't want to study.
Oh,
But
okay.
nowadays we look back and we're like, yeah, that was absolutely worth it.
Sure, sure. Wow. Okay. So, and it was just piano you're studying all the way through?
Well, piano has the instrument, but then
Uh-huh.
it's like a conservatory diploma. So you do like ear training and choir and like music history and like all these things, acoustics. You actually do the whole,
Oh.
it's like a whole, so I did that while studying. That's why it was also a lot.
Oh, so it wasn't just lessons. It wasn't just like, okay, you have to do piano lessons through ninth grade. This is like you're in a whole other school learning all of this stuff alongside your regular classes.
Exactly. And
Oh,
usually, you know,
wow.
at least after ninth grade, people choose an area of like studies.
Mm-hmm.
And usually if you do this kind of like music program, even if in some other school, then in your regular school, you don't have some courses. But I actually did both of them. So I was like, I'm pretty, you know, busy at the time.
Right. Wow. Okay. Were you writing songs at all during this time, or is it just basically soaking up all of this musical knowledge?
No, I wasn't showing them to anybody though, but I started writing when I was 11. But it was always, I never actually took them seriously. I didn't even think I would ever show my music to anybody. I didn't even think of it as my music. It was kind of more like my, I guess my journal. Like instead of writing whatever I was feeling, I would kind of put it into songs. And ever since I was a kid, but I never really took it or any of it seriously up until I was already at Berklee, and I decided to record some old stuff just for fun, kind of like, well, we'll start here. We'll take some of these really, really old songs from when I was 11 and 12 and 13 and actually record them and release them.
Oh, wow. So you ended up releasing the songs years later.
Yeah, so I went, you know, I'm saying like they were like a lot of songs, like I don't know,
Right,
300 songs, but probably most of them are trash. I'm not saying they're good, but then I went and I chose 23. I recorded 23 and then I ended up releasing 22, which was kind of like a good sum up of like, you know, a
Those
bit of this when
years.
I was 11 and this when I was 12 and this when I was, and I kind of went like tried to do a really quick catch up of all those years
Like,
before I
oh,
actually
yeah,
realized like,
yeah.
yeah.
Wow. That's cool. That's really cool.
Yeah, nowadays I look back and I find it endearing. It's like I hear the songs, I'm like, oh, that's cute. I'm not like, oh, that's amazing music. I just find it like it's good to look back and see where you come from and how much you know, evolve and you grow up throughout like years in general.
Yeah.
So it's yeah.
Yeah, it's like you have a timeline of your musical, writing. Exactly. Like,
Yeah,
okay, 11, then 14, whatever it is, all the way through. That's really awesome.
exactly.
Okay. So you were doing both. When did you didn't show anyone your song until you were at Berklee?
I kind of started showing some stuff when I was, I think 17, 18, did like 2 or 3 YouTube videos. But then I still didn't really sing in front of people. And the few times I did it, I wanted to die. I was like, oh God. And then at Berklee, I think that was awesome because there was really like a Atlantic Ocean. I'm like abroad. I'm far from home. So I'm also not going to be shy about singing or doing my music, or I'm just going to own up to what I do, even if maybe it's not perfect. And that was the moment where I actually started singing.
You're like, you just had this kind of epiphany of, you know what, I'm here. I got here. Let's just go for it.
Exactly that. There was an open mic on the second day. Like I had never been to the States or even that far from home.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, I had entered and I packed my stuff and I went and I was far away, and suddenly on the second day there was an open mic and somebody passed by me and gave me a sheet so I could put my name, and I was like, no, thank you. And then a girl that I had just met was like, oh, let's do it. And that was the click. I was like, actually, yeah, I'm already here. Like, screw it. And I put my name. And then the funny thing is that I realized that suddenly I was like, I don't even have my guitar and I don't even know what to play. And then I was so, scared. And
Yeah.
this guy had just played a song and he was gorgeous and he was amazing. And so I went up to him and I asked him if I could use his guitar. And he looked at me kind of like, oh God, this freshman, this annoying freshman is asking for my guitar. How is she doing this? And so he kind of like very, in a reticent way. I don't know if you have this word in English, reticent, like he just kind of didn't want to say yes, but he said yes.
Right.
And
He was
nowadays
just
he's
like,
one
I
of
guess. Sure.
yeah, exactly. Kind of like almost mad.
Right.
And then I went and sang a song in Portuguese and I made everybody sing this like bridge part that had like this choir with parts that I taught while I was singing, and everybody kind of like tagged along, and it was this moment. Maybe that was why I also immediately got the courage to start doing it more, because it was such an insane like first moment. And then that guitar guy, when I went back at him, kind of like, thank you, and he was like, no, thank you. So he completely switched, and nowadays he's like one of my biggest friends. And I'm actually starting I ended up singing in his band, and now we're actually starting a folk duo. So it's funny how things kind of go around.
Wow, that's really cool. That is
Yeah.
so cool. Oh my gosh. I love that you had never done that, and you didn't want to really, you're shy or afraid of getting in front of people. But then when you're up there, you're teaching the audience how to sing the bridge of yours. You're like, okay, and then at this part, we're all going to do this. Like, to really engage everyone after just kind of being, instead of just going up there timidly and playing. It sounds like you were like, it just like clicked when you were even up there.
Yeah, I don't know what happened, but I still kind of feel that even in moments where sometimes I'm a bit nervous before any show. It's like when I start playing, it's not when I get on stage, but exactly, so when I start playing, it's like everything makes sense. It's like, well, actually it's about the music. So there's a part of me that I drop my shyness or my ego or my anything, because the second music starts, it's about the music, and that's why we're all there together. And I think I felt the same. I started singing, and then he got to the bridge, and instinctively,
instantaneously, or yeah, sure.
like out of instinct,
right.
I suddenly
Instinctively,
I had 3 parts.
There's the word we were looking for.
Instinctive. I don't know.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Go ahead.
That word. I just, I had the parts in my head, and so it was kind of easy to. It wasn't about being shy or anything anymore. It wasn't about me anymore. It was suddenly there was this part of the song that had these 3 vocal parts, and suddenly I had all these musicians in front of me. It's not even a normal audience. It was like all these, colleagues, like people that are musicians like me. And so it was kind of easy to ask. But yeah, like when I walked off stage, I was like, what the hell just happened? It was fun. That
is so cool. That's really cool. And then at that point, are you like, okay, you kind of pulled the Band-Aid off, and now, all right, let's show people my songs. Like that was kind of like the over the hill moment for you, where now you felt comfortable showing people your songs, and then you eventually went and start recording them.
Yeah, for my songs, it still took a bit, but that was like, the second day, and so that started to sing. That's where it started, and then I started a series called Berklee People to kind of go against this competition vibes that I was feeling that around school, and I started doing I think it was a video a week. I would post every Sunday or something like that, and every semester had a bunch of videos where I would just put together people. We wouldn't rehearse. I would just send the song like the day before. They would listen. We'd get to a practice room, put the iPhone. So we have a bunch of bloopers, because a lot of times it would just be funny and very, very unpretentious, and kind of like, it is what it is. It's about the music. And that, I think, started also giving me the confidence to keep on singing and calling people, and then in 2017, because I went in 2015. And then in 2017, that's when I actually went and recorded some of my old songs. That's where I chose like the 23 songs, and I went to a studio and I rehearsed and I recorded, and then in 2018 I released. So it took a bit to actually be like, this is my music, but at least the singing and the, I do this type vibe, that kind of started in 2015.
Okay. Wow. And from there, from like releasing the all those songs, like what was next? Did you end up finishing at Berklee, and like what's kind of the next phase?
So I graduated from Berklee end of 2017.
Okay.
So it was like 3 full years. I went January 2015 and up until December 2017. And then I decided to go to LA, actually, to live in LA in 2018. So I got there, I released these 22 songs that I had done in 3 different albums, which are called MARO
Volume 1, 2, 3. Yeah. Okay.
Exactly. And then I ended up doing 2 more projects in LA. One that is called MARO and Manel, which is, all songs by a friend of mine from Portugal, Manel, and I. And it was fun because we pretty much did it in 5 days, and it was a very like, let's just do it for fun. And so we recorded for 2 days, and then I mixed with Pedro Caloni for 2 days, and then we mastered for a day, and that was it. And it was like done. And then I kind of did the same in 2 weeks. I recorded It's Okay, which is, the last album I released before this upcoming one.
This upcoming, sure.
Which I did with Andrew Keller, a friend from LA, and we would do it, he would be working up until 1 to 3 a.m. and then he would call me kind of like, hey, I'm done working, do you want to come record? And I would be sleeping. I was like, yes. And so I would go meet him to just record all these songs that I had written while I was at Berklee.
Oh, wow. Okay. That's so, oh my gosh. So he just called you in the middle of the night. You had to go over there whenever it was. Hey, come record. I'm done. And then that's what became It's Okay.
Exactly. Because I went to LA, but I didn't, I went to Berklee because I had scholarships. And so then I went to LA and I was kind of like counting my pennies, I didn't really have gear to record, or I couldn't afford any studio. And so Andrew, it was his way of like, he loved the music and he loved, me as an artist, and we're very, very good friends. And so he would just, which is insane, because he would work 12, 15 hours and then call me kind of like, hey, I'm done, instead of going to sleep like anybody would.
Right, exactly. He'll just go, okay, I'm ready to record you now. It's 2 a.m. Let's do this.
And he has a studio. He's all like, he's amazing. He's an amazing producer, an amazing engineer. And so he'd be like, okay, I'm done. Let's do it. And so It's Okay. It's only like, it only exists because of Andrew. And it was all made kind of like that. Like I was in LA and really taking advantage of every opportunity. And Andrew, had a studio and had the will to do it and the love for it. And so we put it up together.
Wow. Okay. And then you end up getting signed or just kind of discovered around that time too, right? Or was that before that?
No, it was around that time. So The whole 2018 was my LA year. And at the end of 2018, that's when Jacob told me he was going to LA. Like he messaged me on Instagram saying he was going to LA and that he had some ideas for songs, that he loved my stuff and he would love to meet. And so we actually met end of 2018. Super got along. And like in December, I went to do a show with him in Boston already as part of his band. And then the whole 2019, I went on tour with Jacob Collier. I don't know if I said that before. And that's when, the Quincy Jones Productions that works with Jacob and has been working with Jacob since he started to listen to my original stuff, not just as, Jacob's band member, but actually as MARO. And at some point, reached out saying that they would love to work with me as well.
Wow. And that must have been a big moment for you, I'd imagine, right?
Yeah, because I had met Adam Feld, which he's the president of Quincy Jones Productions, and he's guy that talks to me about wanting to together and everything. And I had, he's an amazing guy and professional and sweet and very, very passionate about music. Then I was like, well, I really like him, and also it's Quincy Jones Productions. Like you can't
Yeah, right.
You just know, it's just you
It's a
just
huge
know
deal.
yeah. So I was truly excited and happy.
Hmm. And you put an EP out pretty quickly, right, with them?
Um, yeah, I mean they're like my management.
Okay.
So I still work independent
Independent.
even now for this album.
Yeah,
I
I knew this album was an independent release, but the other stuff was still too. I wasn't sure
yeah,
how that worked. Okay.
everything has been independent.
Wow, that's incredible.
This one is the first one that I have a distribution company called Venice.
Okay.
So it's the first time I'm independent, but I'm not by myself. I actually have a team of awesome people that believe in 2019 up until now. I've been working with Quincy Jones Productions, but as management, so I still release everything independently. And the
Mhm.
EP with NASAYA, I think that's what you're talking about.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I was already with QJP. Yeah.
yeah. Okay. Cool. Well, I want to talk to you obviously about Can You See Me, but real quick to touch on just the Eurovision thing. How did that all kind of come about? Because it's such a huge, cool accomplishment.
Yeah, that was a crazy ride. I I'm not really a big TV competition person.
Sure.
I always thought I would never ever do stuff like that. Not because I have a problem with it. It's just not my type of. It's just not my thing.
Hmm.
But then, for some reason, I had been invited for 3 years and like 3 years in a row to be a part of Festival da Canção, which is basically Eurovision but in Portugal, and then whoever wins goes and
Goes
represents
on to
Portugal.
Portugal, right? Okay, cool. That's what I thought.
Exactly. And so for some reason, when they called me last year, um, inviting me for the fourth time, for some reason I just had a gut feeling that actually I should say yes this time around. And I don't know why. And when I was talking to my team, they invited me again and they were kind of like, yeah, you shouldn't do it. And I was like,
You shouldn't
I
do it.
know. Yeah, usually people are like that. And I was like, I know, and I've always thought that way, and I totally get why, but for some reason I have a massive gut feeling that I should actually do it this year. And
Was
you know,
it
the
due to
amazing
this? Sorry, I was just gonna, was it due to the song that you had, or was that something that came
I
later?
didn't
Oh,
even
okay.
have a song yet. I
Okay.
I
Sorry,
don't
go
know. I
ahead.
don't know what it was. I think it's just literally like a gut feeling. And the amazing thing about my team is that they do trust me when I'm adamant about something, and so they're kind of like, oh, well, okay, then let's just do it. And it was just purely out of I have started a career kind of like out in the world, and I go little by little, but my work wasn't really known in Portugal, which is my country.
Mhm.
And so I thought maybe like, it's a festival that has, people watch it in Portugal. And so I go with any song that represents me. I can, stay, I don't know how to say, like, stay last, like I can be the last
You can
on,
get
I don't know
Yeah,
how to
yeah,
say.
yeah. I know.
Yeah,
I understand what you're
and
saying.
it's still fine because some people at least will hear, about me or see my name or see my face and then go look for my stuff, and we'll find some. So I kind of did it out of, pure, little exposure, but I didn't think that suddenly I was actually going to win the whole thing in Portugal and then go to real deal, that Eurovision, and that was a big surprise. But it was also amazing because the whole exposure thing, that was you know
Massive. I
it
mean,
just,
it's the scale
yeah,
that people are watching it is, yeah, massive.
yeah, I was doing it for like little exposure in my country, just so that some more people in my country would know about my work, and then it ended up like reaching a lot of new people, like people that really didn't know my music. So that was awesome.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, winning and then just going in as, okay, I want my country to know that I exist and I write music, and then to win, and then now you're representing your country on this huge scale. That's such a cool experience, I'm sure.
And it was awesome because a lot of people, think Eurovision, especially musicians and everything, think Eurovision is kind of lame or whatever. And I think when you go do things, whatever thing in life with the right perspective, kind of like you can always take something good out of anything. It can become cool. And that's what happened with Eurovision. Like the Portuguese delegation and the girls I took to sing with me that are also amazing artists on their own. We took that so lightly and so about the music and enjoying other artists' music instead of looking at it as competition. We just kind of went as like, what an awesome experience to even be a part of. It became this, two of the best weeks of my life, truly. So I'm so happy I did it.
What a fantastic outlook to go into it as, I'm just going to be here. I'm not going to look at it as we need to win. This is going to be a huge competition. Let's just have fun and go with it. And then you still do incredible in the contest too, which is awesome.
It was nice because exactly we were like 5th on the jury and then like 9th overall, which is, it's a lot of countries. And I knew I wasn't taking a very like Eurovision song. So I wouldn't be surprised if we would like become like last. It would be fine either way. We were so happy about what we were doing and happy about watching all of the performances and meeting all these people and honestly we're all kind of rooting for Ukraine too, even though some people are like, well, this is not about politics, it's about music. It's like, well, it kind of made sense. And we were just happy that at the end of the day people actually liked the song and related to it when we were even thinking, it's not a very festival song and but it's fine because we get to be a part of it. So it was cool.
That's so cool. That is so cool. Well, so tell me about, that was this last year. Did you already have this album ready? Because it looks like you started this record in the beginning of 2020 from what I read.
Yeah, this record was all done in 2020 and then we kind of finished up some production details in 2021.
Okay.
But the album really, I listened to the album. I know it's already like 2 years old because we did like half of it beginning of 2020, like January.
Yeah, and then pandemic doesn't help anything. Right.
And then pandemic started.
Sure.
Which was cool because of the pandemic. Well, not because of the pandemic, because we would have met earlier and stuff, but at least at the end of 2020, Blanda, which my friend that did the whole album with me, which he's an amazing producer and pianist from Minnesota. And he actually came to Portugal for 2 months and he spent whole October and whole November in Portugal, or like actually, the end of October till mid-December, something like that. And maybe he wouldn't have done that if the world wasn't stopped because he wouldn't have time. But at the same time, we did have to wait. Like we started all these things and ideas and actually finished like 5 songs in January. And then end of 2020 was like only at the end of 2020 was the moment when we were like, okay, we can meet again and make music again. And then we finished the album.
Okay. Wow. Yeah. Because it started like what he came out to Portugal, right? To start the record with you. Yeah,
both like in January and at the end of the year.
Oh wow!
We did it all in Portugal, and then we finished up some details in Brazil, which was fire, and then some details in LA.
Okay. Was that the first time you've wrote and recorded a record in Portugal?
Yeah, actually, yeah, and it was awesome because we didn't, we went like a day to studio to record a part at the piano and record my siblings because they sang for a bunch of tracks. Like,
did they really? That's cool.
Yeah, and they're awesome. They're awesome. But actually, the whole thing we did it. Blanda brought like his Apollo twin, like his interface and his computer and his mic. I got some speakers that a friend like lent us, and we went 2 weeks here, 2 weeks here. We kind of went like jumped from place to place in Portugal and did the whole thing like kind of with this mobile studio, like zero quality, and just it was all about the vibe of the places where we were at. It wasn't like prepared places to record. Zero.
So
Like
it was
literally
just
one of the best places was this little Airbnb that we found in the middle of the mountains in Portugal. And in like even snowed in one of the days. We looked up the window and we set up the whole thing like in front of this little window of this like stone house in the middle of the mountain, and then suddenly we looked up and it was snowing. And it's all these memories that really make the album so much more special.
do you feel like each place or recording in different areas like that, you kind of shape different songs on the record? Like, did certain songs come out of situations like that?
For sure, yeah. Like for example, the song "Can You See Me"
Mhm.
is about my granddad that died at the end of 2020, literally a week or two before Blanda got there. So when he
Oh
got
my
to
gosh.
Portugal, I was absolutely destroyed. Even the
I'm so
Eurovision
sorry.
song is
Yeah,
about my
that's hard. I'm so sorry.
yeah. It sucked, and it's always so hard when somebody that is such a big part of your life is gone. And it
Mhm.
was the first time I lost somebody that was that close to me. So I was just not in a good place. And Blanda is like he's like my safe place. He's my best friend, and he's like my brother, and we have so much fun together. But we also write and we get along and we have deep conversation. He's just that person.
Mhm.
And so when he got there, it was at the same time like this relief, kind of like I feel awful, but at least
He's
you're
there. Yeah,
here and we can.
somebody's there to kind of be there for you, a
Yeah.
shoulder
And so
to cry
then
on, so to speak.
exactly. Yeah, I probably the reason why I didn't absolutely lose it was because he arrived
Mhm.
like literally right after, and we went up north to this house that was my grandpa's. And the day we get there, we go and have lunch to this woman that is like a friend of the family that worked at my grandparents' house for like 35 years, and she saw us all grow up, like my cousins and I. And so the whole time I was there at lunch, I was, it's like I would look over my shoulder and I would think like it doesn't make sense that he's not here. You would be sitting there at the table and you would
Right.
be, because he was such a like, he loved her so much and she cooked so well and he loved her food. And so I kept on thinking about him the whole lunch. And so when you got home and we set up the studio, and it was the first day of this whole writing camp, it was a trip, but
Right.
we set it up, blah, had some dinner, and at night we're like, okay, let's start working. And immediately Can You See Me came out. Like it just, Blenda started playing some chords on a synth, and immediately I had like melody and lyrics, and it literally starts like that. Today I looked over my shoulder hoping you'd be sitting in. I almost felt like I could see you. Can you see me? And
Mhm.
that's the name of the song. And that was the first song we wrote on that 2 months chunk trip that we did. And so that definitely the places we went to, they truly shaped the album and some of the songs. And
Mhm.
in this case, it's like this, the album is called Can You See Me? The whole album is dedicated to my grandpa, and it's called Can You See Me because of this one song that is about him. And it wouldn't have happened if Blended didn't get there like right after my grandpa was gone, and if we didn't go up to his house up north, where it's even like kind of sad and weird, but it's like his ashes are like kind of next to the house, because there's like the little village graveyard. And so it was, I think all these things really do shape like where you go and how do you feel and who you work with and who you feel good with. They do shape like the way you make music and write songs.
Mhm. I completely agree. And my granddad was my favorite person in the world too. Like that's so relatable. And I lost him a handful of years ago. I tattooed his name on my wrist. Um, but just like
Well,
hearing that, like I feel like he was there with you when you were writing the song. Like to talk about, like his ashes were right there. Like it's I feel like that's such a beautiful thing to Can You See Me, and the name the album after that, and it kind of
yeah,
shaped what became this whole project.
no, completely.
Wow. And so would that happen right in the beginning of 2020, you said?
So that was end of 2020.
Or end of
So at the
2020.
beginning of 2020,
Was when
exactly.
you
At the beginning
the
of
first
2020,
chunk of it.
Yeah, it was the first chunk, and we actually got this like 5 days at this house in front of the beach, the little apartment in front of the beach, and we would, you know, wake up and go surf, and then come back and write, also like with our little mobile setup. But it was like 5 days, and we did 5 songs that are kind of, you know, fun and light. And, you know, we did like Rewired, we did Never Been So Sure, which is not out yet, but will be. We did When Mama Was Used to Sing. We did some, you know, some songs there. But then when he came for 2 months, we did a bunch of others. So we did Diffuse Deceiving and Can You See Me? And that's really when, you know, 2 months, that's when we, because in January, we were just goofing around. We weren't like, we're going to do an album. We're like, I miss you, let's do a trip and let's just make music for fun, which is what we did. And we had these 5 songs that we loved, and then COVID started, and then we spent the rest of the year kind of like, man, we really love these 5 songs, let's actually meet up and do more and see what happens. And that's when he came, like end of 2020. He came back to Portugal, and we actually spent 2 months, and that's when we actually realized, you know, because then we wrote a lot more songs, and then realized, wait, we have an album of 14 songs and we started like, there's like 7 or 8 more songs that we didn't put on the album because then it was too much. But so we're gonna do more and more stuff just because we work so well together. But really, truly, those 2 months were the time where we came up with the actual project, like a you know, a thing that has beginning and an ending, you know.
That's awesome. That's I had a chance to hear the record, and it's amazing. It's a beautiful album. And
thank you.
That must be really exciting. Obviously it comes out this week. Is there anything like, when you release something like that, is it like, are you nervous at all, or it just feels good to have it out there?
I never got nervous from releasing anything. I think because I always release things I like and that I really enjoyed making and that I really enjoyed listening to. So I think I'm so secure about it's, so genuine. Like I really truly like it. I didn't do it to try and please anybody or to try and make something go viral, or I did it. It just came out that way, that even if everybody would trash it, I would still be like, well, it's okay, I love it, you don't need to like it. So I think that completely takes out the possible nervousness that I might feel. Like it's just not, it's fine either. I'm actually just so happy that it's out, because I feel like as an artist, when you release something, because you have there's a whole process where you record and then you mix and then you master and then you're checking if it's fine or details, or so by the time you release it, it's so like just so nice and so exciting that it shouldn't matter what other people think. It's like, if you like it and if you enjoy the process and if you're happy about the result, then that's it. And I'm really truly, in that regard, I'm truly confident about the stuff I do, because I only do what I like. So at the end of the day, really the only feeling is really like, it's been almost 2 years. We didn't release it because of COVID. So now that it's going to be out, it's like out. And you feel like it's a chapter. You kind of close it and you can move on. And at this point, I have like 12 albums that are ready to record on my laptop. So I just want to
my gosh,
move.
I would
move
imagine that
one.
if it's been a while since this has been finished, you probably have so many other songs that are already done and ready, and probably excited about putting those out as well.
Yeah, I actually haven't recorded. I literally have like 12 albums that are ready, of like music that I love, but all for different projects, and I haven't recorded anything. So I kind of want to, take album by album right now. Once September starts, like kind of hit that, and but for now, it just feels exciting to kind of see. Can you see me like out in the world, where it's not just mine or Blanda's? It's like everybody. It's for whoever wants to hear it too, which is always nice.
Yes, I love that. And I don't think anyone's going to trash the record. I think it's an amazing album, so I don't think you have to worry about that. But I appreciate your time today. Thank you so much. One more question. I want to know if you have any advice for aspiring artists. Aspiring artists. Yeah, aspiring artists.
I heard for signing an artist. I was like,
Oh,
I don't know anything about that.
Do you have any advice for
Um,
signing artists? Just kidding.
No, I think maybe what I was just talking about, kind of like know why you do it, know why you do music, and go after what truly moves you and what is exciting to you and what you like, including, to hear what you do, and just focus on that. Like, don't really worry. I feel like in the beginning people are like, but then I'm scared what people will think, or I'm afraid of posting videos, and I think it's more of like, do things you like, including videos. If you film yourself playing a cover and then you listen and you like it, just post it. If you like it, that's fine. It doesn't matter if no one else will, but at least you start. And I think the same with music. Just go after what makes you excited. That has been working with me, like, from day one. Because then you're doing it out of like pure pleasure, and it's not to become rich or famous or go viral, or you're thinking about already how to succeed. And I don't think it's about that. I mean, it can be if you want to make it like a business thing, but if you're actually in love with music, then just remember that you it's about the music.